I've been closer to Jesus before. So can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, party people. Welcome into a Friday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. And it's officially spooky season because we are 2 days away from All Hallows Eve. And our YSN teams are certainly hoping that they don't have any nightmares in the playoffs come this weekend. We have a jam-packed show for you today. Probably the biggest, most guests we've had on one show yet. It's going to be a fun October 29th.
Yeah, it is, as we're going to have presumably a starting five in high school girls basketball coaches for you today, and possible appearance from high school football as well. So we're looking for a jam-packed show, as well as we need to make our high school football picks for tonight.
Let's lay down what we got at 12 o'clock, which is like now. We're going to be joined by Justin Rahim, the head coach of the Heartland Christian girls basketball team. Then at 12:15, we have I don't want to say a confirmation. How would you describe it? Coach Ogilvie will probably be with us.
Possible appearance by Coach Ogilvie from
12:15.
United Football, as we're going to be talking a big matchup tonight with Brookfield and United.
And then tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night, excuse me. Yeah.
But then 1 o'clock, we have Aaron Gilbert from Garfield girls basketball. And then at 1:15, we go right along the coaches train with Will Franklin, the head coach of East Palestine. And then, hey, at 1:30, it's Will Nieder, the head coach of Struthers. And then, hey, if that's not enough, 1:45, Aaron Agresta, the head coach over at Valley Christian for the girls basketball program. Also the defensive coordinator for Valley Christian. So we'll get to ask him some dual sport questions as he gears up for the playoffs and tries to focus in on his season that's upcoming.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be an exciting day, too, as we got picks to make, too, for football for tonight and tomorrow night, as the playoffs are upon us, and it's going to be a long train coming to an end here pretty soon.
Right. Where these teams are hoping they have 6 more weeks of football.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll see. We'll see who's advancing tonight. A lot of tough matchups for some teams tonight, so we'll see if they're going to be able to get past them and get to the next round.
Perfect time to remind everybody that tonight and the playoff games are in a pay-per-view package. So $9.99 gets you the access to the game that you want, plus all the games this evening. Same thing for tomorrow night. $9.99 again gets you access to not just the game that you purchased, but all the games on the network that evening. If you are a fan of a team that is playing the regular season, we're talking Columbiana, East Palestine, Latonia, Sebring. Those 2 games are free. You don't have to worry about the pay-per-view if you're watching those ones. But the playoff games are pay-per-view, $9.99 for the access to the whole network this evening.
Yeah, and that's going to be obviously exciting too to see everyone. And that we got. I think what it is, 8 games. I think on the docket for tonight. Let me see and confirm that. I believe it is 8.
It's 8.
8 on the docket.
Games.
8 playoffs. 2 regular season. Yep, 8 playoff games on the docket tonight, and I believe 11 tomorrow.
11 tomorrow.
11 tomorrow. So $9.99 gets you 8 playoff games tonight. You have 2 regular season games absolutely free, and $9.99 tomorrow should get you, I believe, 10 to 11. I think football. I think it might actually be 10. Looking at this, I think it's 10. 10 playoff games tomorrow.
And remember that Saturday is the busiest day in local sports because we have district championships for boys soccer, district championships for volleyball, and then playoff football on Friday. So if you're a local high school fan, you have no excuse to not be doing something on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. If there's nothing going on in your day on Saturday, there's plenty
There's something
around
wrong.
the area. Yeah,
There's something wrong.
there's plenty
Why are you
around.
listening to this show if you're not going to? You're in the wrong house. So, yeah, we have a lot to cover. We have a lot to talk about. We're waiting right now on Justin Rahim, the head coach of Heartland Girls Basketball, supposed to be joining us very shortly. And his team finished 6-17 last season. But, man, did they have one of the area's more prolific players and scorers in Maddie Matthews.
Yeah, and I mean, you talked about it and just her ability and what she's been able to do on the court, shooting wise too. I mean, she's one of these girls that is just she's a great shooter, and she's able to score from it feels like almost anywhere on the court, and that's a dangerous threat to have, especially in girls basketball too, when you can hit them from range.
One of the best games of the year last year was Heartland versus Southern, where they had Ashley Schroeds, and then Heartland had Maddie Matthews, and they were both just breaking program records left and right in that game. Both of them scored, I believe, over 35 points. I think Schroeds was somewhere in the 50s. It was just ridiculous. She's a sophomore for Southern coming back, by the way. So if you're a Southern fan, keep an eye on her as the basketball season goes on. But, man, was it just an amazing game of two incredible players just going at each other left and right.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, when you talk about some of the just premier talent around the area, there is a lot in basketball too, and there's a lot in girls basketball.
It's going to be a lot of new faces that maybe people outside programs don't know, but they're going to know real quick, because a lot of our big name girl basketball players were seniors last year and graduating. You know, Jackie Grisdale, Emma Alaya, Izzy Lamparty, Kyla Jameson. These big names that were really pushed to the forefront of area girls basketball are gone now, but there is a lot of talent still on these teams that you have to be prepared for.
Yeah, no doubt. And I mean, there's going to be a lot of those new name players that you didn't hear a lot about last year, but they're going to make those steps this year. And their junior and senior year, you see a huge growth typically in basketball. That sophomore to junior year is typically one of the biggest jumps in growth in basketball, because that's normally where you start seeing a decent amount of playing time. Typically, if you're up in the Division like 2, Division 1, sometimes in Division 3 and Division 4 too, just depending on how deep the rosters are.
It's exciting. It's exciting times. We're still finishing up volleyball and soccer season 2.
Yeah, no doubt.
We had a couple of district championships last night in girls soccer. Poland fell just short of a district championship. They took a 1-0 lead on Kenston, but then Kenston scored the next 3 goals and won that game 3-1. So Kenston is the back-to-back district champions in Division 2. Congratulations to the Poland girls on an incredible season and getting that far. South Range did get the win over Crestview to win a district championship, their second straight. They won 5-4 in overtime. Gabby Lamparty, 30-yard goal to knock it out in overtime. Amazing game in Niles between South Range and Crestview. Raiders come out on top, and they go to their second straight regional tournament. Last year, they got to the regional finals and lost to Kirtland.
Yeah, we were guaranteed a YSN appearance in the regionals, and it was South Range again coming out on top in the battle versus Crestview. And boy, a battle it was too, as it was tied 4-4 in the late goings of that ball game. And South Range late goal enough to be able to pull that one out victorious.
And Gabby Lamparty, hat trick. And anytime you get a hat trick in a district championship game, Tim Walsh said it earlier this week in his interview with us. She's like national team caliber if she's healthy. And she's looking like she's getting back to 100%. And, man, she's going to be dangerous for South Range as the tournament goes on.
Yeah, no doubt. It's going to be exciting to see how much further this South Range Lady Raiders team can go.
She has help, though. Like, don't sleep on Devin Sourwine. Don't sleep on a couple of those other players on the South Range soccer team that really give them a boost. It's not the Gabby Lamparty show.
Yeah, no doubt.
It is the Gabby Lamparty show, but she does have some supporting cast over there that make that team the difference between good and great.
Yeah, no doubt. And I mean, you don't get to the regionals without having a great team. You can't. It's not possible in my mind to have just one great player carry a soccer team like that. It's a team effort, and there's no doubt that it's a great team over there in South Range. And Gabby Lombardi is a fantastic player.
So congratulations to the Raiders for moving on. Congratulations to the Rebels on an incredible season, and what a game they went out with. I mean, it was almost one of those ones where you're sorry that someone has to lose the game. Because both teams deserved it. Both teams had the effort put in, and they fall just short in overtime, 5-4. Interesting thing about the Crestview teams, though. There was a picture on social. We shared it on our social, but it was initially shared by Laura Nappy, who's one of the assistant athletic directors for Crestview. The boys soccer, girls soccer, and volleyball teams all playing for district championships. And there's a class of 22, and there's so many seniors on all the teams, and it's a great class of 22 for Crestview because they have 3 teams competing for a district championship, and their football team is in the playoffs.
Yeah, no doubt. And I mean, this is a really good athletic class for Crestview. And I mean, no doubt what their volleyball team's doing right now. And Crestview's soccer team put up a heck of a fight too against the Lady Raiders last night. Came up just short, but I mean, still no doubt an impressive season for the Lady Rebels.
We'll see what their boys soccer team can do tomorrow. They play Mooney at 11 o'clock.
Yeah, that should be an interesting matchup too. Just to see these two teams lock horns, and with Mooney's schedule that you think they're primed and ready to go for these playoff matchups, but this is going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, let's dive in a little bit to this matchup between Crestview and Moody as we head over to our friends at Steel Valley Soccer, and they have a great breakdown of every district championship matchup in the valley to look forward to. And you'll look at the Crestview Mooney matchup real quick. Man, their last meeting came last year, and it was a 1-1 tie. And this was a Mooney team last year that went all the way to the state semifinals. Maybe they went to the state tournament. I'm sorry, I can't remember if it was the championship game or the semifinal. So I apologize for that. Oh, it's right here. Thank you, Steel Valley Soccer. They were the state runner-up in Division 4. Crestview lost in the district semis to South Range last year. Mooney is on a 4-game winning streak, and the Crestview is on a 5-game winning streak. You'll look at some of the leaders for Crestview is Nick Novak, 49 goals, 39 assists on the year for him. For Mooney, it is Savas Pizanias. He has 10 goals, 3 assists. The differential for Crestview plus 117, and the differential for Mooney is plus 13. Mooney has scored 30 goals, allowed 43. Their record is 8-4-6, and Crestview has a 17-1 record. They have allowed 23 goals and scored 140. That is not a typo. So you look at these numbers by themselves, and you think, well, Crestview has a huge advantage. But remember that Mooney's schedule is just ridiculously good. So that's why some of those numbers are skewed.
They were competitive games almost every single one that Mooney's played this year. And Crestview playing in the MVAC, there was a little bit of, some of those teams that are still trying to build their program. So Crestview was able to take advantage of some of those matchups. And this is a matchup, though, that I think is very even, honestly, going into it. And I think it's going to be exciting in a 50-50 toss-up.
The only game that Mooney has looked completely outmatched this year was against Western Reserve Academy, not Western Reserve in Berlin Center. Western Reserve Academy beat them 12-0, but we saw Mooney compete really well with Howland. They played Ontario. They've played a lot of really good soccer teams, and because of that, their record might not be as impressive. But they have 6 ties. They're 8-4-6, not 6 ties, but 6 ties. We have the one and only tie.
Yeah, and I mean it's a great season for Mooney as they've been competitive in a lot of games, and it's just about finishing those games now. That's going to matter in the long run. But I mean, honestly, there's no ties in the playoffs either, so that's the biggest thing. If you can work for that, you can still work for a win then, and that's a big thing. Is that those are 6 opportunities then in the playoffs that Mooney would have to win the game.
I think the Mooney faithful are just happy. There's still more.
Yeah. Honestly, after as many of them as they had to face this year. But this is going to be interesting for Mooney now if they could complete these games now when it gets to the late stages of them.
Some other soccer matchups in the Ysn family tomorrow. We have South Range taking on Ursuline in the district championship. Both teams are on South Range is on a 5-game winning streak. Ursuline has 2 wins, a tie, and 2 losses in their last 5. South Range's worst loss was against Poland. They lost 6-1. Ursuline lost to Howland 8-1. South Range's best win was Girard 10-0. Ursuline beat Newton Falls 8-1. And look at some of these teams' leaders. It is Braden Johnson for the Raiders, 10 saves. And then Camden Thomas, as far as goals go, 44 goals, 26 assists. Connor Blazik is the goalkeeper for Ursuline. He has, I believe, 30 saves this season. Cam Forsyth leads them in goals and assists. The goal differential for South Range is plus 91, plus 37 for Ursuline. South Range has only allowed 23 goals all season and scored 114. Ursuline has allowed 30 and scored 67. Ursuline comes in with a record of 9-4-3. South Range is 14-2-1. So this could be an interesting one too. South Range Ursuline has become a rivalry in the area. I mean, we've seen a lot of district championships in both girls and boys sports now come down to South Range Ursuline.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's just really good athletics at both schools. So,
I mean, no one can forget the softball regional championship last year between South Range and Ursuline. I mean, it's just becoming one of those, it used to be a big deal, public versus parochial. It used to be a big deal, but I feel like open enrollment has kind of shifted that gripe between public and parochial schools, but there's still that little friction there. But and it's always when a public school beats an Ursuline, it's always like a rally, like, oh my God, we just beat Ursuline. And I feel like open enrollment has kind of closed that gap a little bit, and that's why we're seeing this become a much more competitive rivalry in every sport.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think there's what you see with South Range and what Ursuline's been able to do. I feel like South Range just creates rivalries differently in each sport, though. But I mean, it just hats off to just great athletics at these programs. And that's why you're able to create rivalries across multiple sport platforms.
Another game in the Ysn family is Mooney versus we already did that one. Sorry. United versus Kirtland. So Kirtland showing up again against Ysn schools. United is on a 5-game winning streak. Kirtland has gone 4-1 in their last 5, a 2-game winning streak for them. United's worst loss was 5-0 against Ursuline. Kirtland's worst loss was 5-2 against Riverside. Biggest win for Ursuline was against Heartland Christian, 11-0. For Kirtland, it was against Cardinal, 9-0. Goalkeeper for United has Ethan Hively, 56 saves on the year. Anthony Vigil has 36 for the Hornets. For the Eagles, it's Maddox Andrea. He's a freshman, 26 goals, 8 assists for him. What a freshman season he's put together. Player to watch out for Kirtland is Marco Valentik. He has 31 goals, 26 assists. The margin for Kirtland is plus 94. The margin for United is plus 54. United has scored 75 goals, allowed 21. And Kirtland has scored 110 goals, allowed 16. United's record is 14-3-1. And Kirtland's record is 16-2-1. So these two matching up for the district championship game on Saturday at 11 o'clock.
Yeah, and that should be an interesting matchup, too, to see if United can knock off Kirtland.
That'd be big. That'd be big.
As Kirtland, we know, big school with a lot of great programs over there as well.
Kirtland has a very good boys soccer team. Girls soccer team that went to state last year and is poised to make a run again. Their volleyball team is ranked 9th in the state. We all know what their football team's doing. It's not just a football school.
Yeah.
Like their athletics department is just good across the table. And I think it starts at the top. It must be like, I'm not like deep into who their athletic director is, but you can't kind of put that together without a really strong athletic director and really strong coaching staff. When it's a small school, you got to be able to share athletes. And if you work as a unit, you can really see these athletic departments thrive.
Yeah, and you feel like that rivalry too. You talk about South Range rivalries. You feel like that one's kind of developing with Kirtland too.
With football,
Yeah, with football, especially as it's kind of becoming South Range's kryptonite. They need to get over Kirtland and be able to prove that they can get over Kirtland. And it looks like they might be primed for another clash here.
To be fair, Kirtland is a lot of people's kryptonite.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's no doubt. But I mean, South Range is one of those few schools I think that has been able to prove that they could compete with Kirtland, and I feel like it proved that they can knock Kirtland off. It's just,
I think last year they opened some eyes because they really went down and they gave Kirtland the best game that Kirtland had in the playoffs, period. And I think a lot of people after the state championship was won by the Hornets kind of looked back and said that regional championship was pretty much the state championship. Now it's 2020, hindsight's 2020. You can say that. You don't know how South Range will match up with those next two teams, or what the differences would be like, or whatever it may be. But the way that Kirtland went through the rest of the playoffs after beating South Range, it was really hard not to think, all right, South Range put up a really good fight. You would think that South Range would be able to at least have a good chance of winning a state championship if they would have beaten Kirtland. So that's kind of the feeling this year, where they just think whoever comes out of this region, whether it be South Range, Garfield, or Kirtland, the doors are open, right, wide open for them to win a state championship.
Yeah, no doubt. And this is a team too where South Range they're looking up from last year too.
You talk about this rivalry. It might not be here next year because next year is a realignment year, and Kirtland is always a team that's flipping between 5 and 6. So who knows? It might be a Kirtland team that drops back down to Division 6 next season when they start realigning again. And boy, if they did that, can you imagine? Imagine this year if it was Springfield, LeBray, Kirtland all in the same region.
That's insane. That'd be absolutely insane, but it's a possibility too. And I mean, that's what we're going to look forward to. It's always exciting time during realignment, and we're definitely going to be excited for that too.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. There are some teams that you have to look out for when they do realign because they're right on the cusp of that Division 5, Division 6 line. South Range, honestly, one of those teams too. They're not Division 5 by a lot.
Yeah, and that would be absolutely insane if South Range was in D6 Springfield.
It'd be the luck of South Range where they move to D6 and then Kirtland follows.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Kirtland, South Range, Springfield, LeBray. Like, that's an insane Division 6 playoff that would boil down to.
Wow. I got chills just thinking about it.
I mean, we'll have to see what realignment does too, and where teams end up. That's going to be interesting.
Canfield's another one of those teams, maybe not in football, but I know in girls sports, they're Division 1 by like this much, so they might actually go down to Division 2.
And that would be huge if that's the case too for their volleyball team.
Because I was talking to Coach Scott for their volleyball team, and she's like, "Man, we are the smallest Division 1 team in the state," and that's very true. And it's a tough gauntlet to go up what they have to go up against in the district tournament. Forget regionals and state.
Yeah, no doubt. And I mean, honestly, when we see that too, it's going to be one of those things for Canfield too, where if they're able to drop down, they're going to be able to, I think, compete throughout state tournaments. Make deep runs.
Imagine like Canfield lost to an Aurora team that's Division 1 by a mile. I mean, you saw their roster, you saw their bench. They had a plethora of girls they could use. Canfield was Division 1 like by a girl in their school system.
Yeah, and that's insane too. And it'll be interesting when we do realignment. It will be.
So we've waited on coaches. For one reason or another, we haven't seen one. Do you want to start our picks?
We can, or we could take a break, come back, and then start our picks as well if we want to do that.
You know what? I like your moxie, kid. We're gonna pay some bills.
And then we'll come back with some football picks, and then hopefully some basketball coaches to follow at 1:00.
We'll be back on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. and there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring. And, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, shop with confidence knowing we're ready to go the extra mile for you. With the largest selection of used vehicles in the Valley, backed by the Greenwood Advantage Warranty. Every one of our vehicles has undergone our own 126-point inspection, so it passes the most important inspection, yours. No other dealership has the extra inventory, gives you extra for your trade, and goes the extra mile for you. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
For a great vehicle and a great experience, come to Boardman Mitsubishi today. As always, our full lineup of Mitsubishi models comes with a standard 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Boardman Mitsubishi, your hometown Mitsubishi dealer since 1999.
Coca's Pizza, always supporting our community and our local athletes. Stop in on game day or score big and have it delivered right to your door. Check out our daily specials at cocaspizza.com. That's Coca's Pizza, we serve it hot.
At Hubbard Chevrolet, Hubbard can help you get the financing you need regardless of your situation. I'm Tony Page, and I've helped thousands of customers in Northeast Ohio and Western Pennsylvania buy a vehicle. Visit HubbardChevy.com to get pre-approved. Remember, folks, Hubbard can help.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University and proud.
Welcome back to Running Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwick alongside Ty Bartell, who's in the studio with me. And Ty, we got some picks to get through as we get ready for our rapid fire girls basketball conversation starting at 1 o'clock. So let's start them and go into our picks for Friday, then go to Saturday.
Yeah, let's start with regular season first, and we'll start right here in the birthplace of YSN as Columbiana is going to be taking on EP as East Palestine hosts Columbiana tonight as Figs will have the call tonight, as Figley will be on the call. And in this one, I mean, both schools kind of jockeying, I think, for position in this one, as Columbiana is trying to lay the foundation for their program. So is East Palestine right now. You got the Clips in this one?
With the Clippers in this one. I think they've put together a pretty good season. They've had some really good bright spots, and I just think they're in a better place than East Palestine right now.
Yeah, double up on that Clipper clap for me too, and this one's out for EB too. For
good friend up. You have to do it.
For Eric Bailey,
you have to do it.
I think Columbiana in this case, East Palestine, I feel like has the foundation they're laying is doing the right thing. I think it's you go through those growing pains as you're a football team that's trying to figure things out. I think East Palestine will figure things out before long. Other regular season game we have Sebring at Latonia tonight, as Derek and Dakota will have the call tonight for this one.
I'm going to go with the Trojans and the Frederick Twins, and I think they can run a little bit better, control the clock, control the game, and get Sebring a win.
Yeah, in this one, I feel like after losing the Spaghetti Bowl, I feel like Latonia is going to need to get a win under their program to really give that program some confidence. And this one being at Latonia, I think with a little bit of home field advantage, I'm going to give a slight edge to Latonia in this one. So give me the Bears.
So we split really quick.
Yeah, real quick. As now we get into the playoff coverage. Remember, $9.99 gets you access to all 8 of these following games for the evening, as we are covering the playoffs in a multitude of divisions tonight, primarily Division 2, 3, and 4 for tonight's playoffs. As starting off with our only Division 2 matchup, one that I will be on the call for, as Harding at Fish So Nice. We got to do it twice, back-to-back weeks now, as the Raiders taking on the Falcons.
Back-to-back weeks, and there's going to be no secrets in this game whatsoever.
And, I mean, the rain's going to play a factor on a turf field. It's going to be a little bit slick, too. So that's going to be an interesting factor going into this game as well.
I've said it. This is my knock on Harding all year, and it's the same thing. They can't make the game-winning plays. Fitch wins at home.
I think Fitch, I mean, it's so hard to beat an opponent twice. And, I mean, I know for a lot of Falcon fans, they have a little bit of nightmares looking back at this, knowing last year you won in the regular season, lost to this team in the playoffs second time you met them. Coach Arnold, Coach Parker, both very great coaches at the sport, and they are great at making adjustments. But like you said, there's no secrets out. I just feel like in a rainstorm, Falcon Faithful show up heavy tonight, and with the voice of the Falcon Faithful behind them, I think the Falcons can pull off.
You know who else is behind them? Purdy.
Yeah.
And when Purdy shows up, you know things are going down.
Yeah, it's gonna be big tonight,
and you better get a picture with Purdy. I want.
Tell Purdy to come up to my press box, and I'll get a picture with Purdy.
I want Purdy in the press box.
If we get Purdy in the press box, I will absolutely get a picture with Purdy.
Purdy, what do you think about that last play?
Yeah.
All right, good.
I didn't say, whoa, now you're saying bring Purdy on for color commentary.
Dynamite drop in,
yeah.
Purdy. Dynamite drop in.
As we're definitely going to be exciting tonight, but I think Fitch can also pull off for that 2 weeks in a row. I think last week, like we said, almost a year to the date to kind of purge themselves of that loss. But now this can really make everything better from last year, and you could truly forget about everything that happened last year with a win tonight. So I think the Falcons, as well as venturing into Division 3, as Richie, Gary Niddle, and Mike Ackelson, I think a trio on the call tonight for Notre Dame Cathedral Latin at Campfield.
This one, I think it's going to be better than the seats present, because we've been over.
It's a tough draw for Campfield.
It is. But Campfield has passed every test. They've looked amazing this year. I think they're going to be too much for NDCL, and they're going to get this win at home.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think Campfield's defense has been absolutely stellar, and they haven't been really stopped, or they haven't really been exploited by an offense the entire season, and I don't see that starting anytime soon. Give me the Cardinals in this one as well, especially at home. As staying within YSN coverage inside of Division 3, another home matchup for our YSN schools, as New Philadelphia is going to be taking on Hubbard, as Jamie and Romo, of course, the call behind the Hubbard Eagles tonight.
It's going to be very interesting to see how Hubbard bounces back from that loss, because it wasn't just like we lost in the last seconds, or this was, we got a little bit embarrassed loss. South Range came in 134-0 in a big game. Hubbard this week is have to kind of watch that film and then either literally or metaphorically burn it. I don't know. Maybe Coach Brian Hoffman's the kind of guy that would put the tape and put the DVDs and put the film out literally in a trash can and light it on fire, just to symbolically and literally burn that film, because that's what they have to do. They have to realize that they've been good all season, that they have the players to be good, and they have to go and execute. So I think Hubbard can bounce back. I think they're the team that can bounce back, and I'll take them to win this game.
Yeah, in this one, New Philadelphia, I think Canfield kind of exposed them a little bit with that 35-0 victory. That defensively, if you can get penetration on the edges of those lines and you could keep them inside on the running game and really just come up with good tackles too, especially in the open field, you could contain this team defensively. And I think that's kind of the key for Hubbard tonight. TC Caffey should be able to get that train rolling again after a little bit of a bump in the road last week. If he's able to get that train rolling again and Hubbard's plays solid defense, I think the Eagles win this one as well. Give me Hubbard, especially at home. As the next one, I don't think we're going to need to spend much time on, but that's all respect to the team as we go now into Division 4. As Cuyahoga Valley Christian Academy is going to be at West Branch. Michael on the call for this one. And I think we could just both say the Warriors and chant it loud and proud, as West Branch, I think, is going to take this one and take it pretty handedly.
West Branch by 40+.
Yeah. Wow. He's going to go with the score. I think they will. I think it's going to be a pretty big score too. I mean, 40+ is going to be an interesting
clock in the third quarter.
I think you very, very well could see that as well. As the next one, going to be a lot more interesting than I think people think, as Canton South going to be at Ursuline. Ian Trey and I believe Steve Leslie going to be on the call for this one, another trio of announcers, as the Irish hosting the Canton South Wildcats.
This is going to be your old-fashioned Wild West shootout, like shootout at the OK Corral. And if you're in the middle of that, if you haven't seen that movie, a lot of people died. And I don't think anyone's going to die on the field, but I think corners are going to get burned. They're going to die in coverage, because trying to keep up with these offenses is tough. We saw Canton South put up a lot of offense against Howland. We saw them put up a lot of offense against West Branch. They can score with anybody. Their defense, not so much, but it's kind of the same story with Ursuline. But here's the difference. I think Ursuline has playmakers on defense. They'll make a couple of big plays, and that'll be the difference. They'll be able to make maybe one or two big-time stops when they need to, and then take advantage of that. I'm taking Ursuline to win, but this one's going to be really high scoring, maybe the highest scoring game of the night.
Neither team has really showed me a whole lot on defense this year, so I'm going to keep my key to the game with an offense, and I'm going to keep it with Ursuline. For them to win this game, and I think it is going to be tough for them to win this game against Canton South, but for them to win this game, the key to it is Brady Shannon, I think, just the turnover battle. Needs to win the turnover battle versus Canton South. Now, whether or not you have a turnover or not, it depends, but you need to have less turnovers than Canton South at the end of the night. And I think if Brady Shannon can keep the ball clean, play a clean game of football, throw it away when need be, instead of trying to force some passes necessarily, I think this is a game that the Irish can take, especially being the home team. I think this is going to be a game where Ursuline should be able to pass through Canton South's defense. They just got to make sure that they're making clean passes.
In the Ice Castle
Yes.
on a cold, rainy night, it is Ursuline versus Canton South.
As next,
that's my horror movie promo voice for Halloween.
Yeah, there you go. Needs a little bit of work. You'll get better on it. As
everybody's a critic.
Woodridge at Salem, as the Quakers trying to bounce back after that loss to West Branch last week, but not a loss I think they were hanging their heads in shame on, as it was one of, if not the game of the year, I think one of the game of the year candidates, which we maybe we should look back and do, because I know Bishop Hartley Ursuline week 1 would be up there, Ursuline Fitch would be up there. There's a lot of great games. We should look at some game of the years for the season recap once the season's done.
Remember Ursuline Harding too?
Yeah, we'll look at some of these games end of the year, maybe end of the season. We'll talk about them on Running Point. But back to this. This is a Salem team that looked really good last year, and I think, or last week, that I think offensively against West Branch too, being able to compete. And I know it's a rivalry game, but West Branch has just looked above and beyond everyone else with the exception of Howland this year. And for Salem to be one of those teams in Division 4 to show that they can compete with number 1 seeded West Branch, I think gave them a lot of confidence. And knowing that they were this close from upsetting that number 1 seed, I think proves a lot to Salem. And I just got to give the Quakes credit in this one. And I think that Salem's going to have it, as Matt and Jared going to have the call tonight for the Quakers.
Keep an eye on the Richter scale because the Quake is coming, man. Quake is coming, and the Quakers win this game.
As the next one, these are 2 teams that are going to be on the road, so we're out of home coverage now, as Beaver Local going to be at Glenville, as Mikey McNuggies.
Remember, this game is not actually in Glenville. It's moved to a different location, too.
So a neutral.
So it's almost a neutral site, which kind of takes away the home field advantage. Give me Beaver Local.
I think Beaver Local, after that loss last week, really is going to be kind of coming into this one sort of mad. And I think they're going to be trying to take their frustrations
Again, it's
out.
a loss that if you watched it, you know that they left it out on the field. They made a couple mistakes they don't normally make. And, props to Wheeling Central. They played a good game, too. They made them pay for those mistakes. But I think Beaver Local watches that film and goes, there were things that we could have done to win that game that we just didn't do.
Yeah, and I think that loss might actually help the Beavers in this matchup, and I think Beaver Local should be able to take it as well. And the last one for tonight, as the Poland Bulldogs will go to Fairless, as Anthony Malone is going to have the call for
this
Poland
one.
tonight.
I think it's going to be the best game in Division 4 as far as trying to pick. Poland's had great defense all season. They're going to need it because Fairless has a really good offense. I think Poland still wins, though.
Fairless's offense is really good, and that kind of just concerns me with it. As
Don't you dare! Not in the playoffs.
Poland's defense needs to show up, and that's gonna be big. But the only thing that's convincing me right now with Fairless's offense gonna have struggles against Poland's defense is just because what Poland was able to do against Jefferson and their high-powered offense. And especially, I think, with the rain, I think it might slow some things down in the passing game, which actually is going to favor Poland, I think, in this one, as typically a run-heavy style of offense first, and definitely going to be able to help them out defensively with that front seven. I'm going to take the Bulldogs on the road on this one as well.
Jack Fulton, bring it home, bud.
As now into the Saturday matchup, school is covering this first one. It is Girard at Gilmore Academy, slated for a 1:30 p.m. start time.
Yeah, this is still Division 4, but obviously moved because of the light situation in Gilmore Academy.
Yep.
So I'm going to take Girard. I think they're healthy enough. They showed me the last 2 weeks they've been playing playoff games already because those were kind of win or go home situations for them. So they're not new to this pressure for the playoffs. I think Girard's going to go on the road and get the win over Gilmore Academy.
Yeah, this is one, too, where I was kind of thinking about it and looking at the playoff matchups and where Girard was being that number 12 seed. Gilmore Academy, granted, they are 7-2 this season, but, not against a whole lot of teams that were competitive, a lot of 5-5, 5-6 teams, and that could just say that the teams they played were competitive as well. But I think Girard, facing that tough NE8 schedule, and was able to be competitive, win every single NE8 game, with the exception of South Range, Poland, and Hubbard, which I think is saying something. They were the best, I think, in the middle of the pack. I think both, if you're going to separate them into tiers, you got Hubbard, South Range at the top, and then Poland and Girard were in a league of their own right now under that. I think Girard, they've looked good the last few weeks. They've won playoff situational games to get them in. I think Girard can take this one as well. As into Division 5 now, as I think another 1:30 p.m. start time, as Crestview at Bel Air going to be slated for 1:30 p.m. on Saturday as well.
And West Columbia, born and raised. Yeah, no, let's go. Let's go to Bel Air. Let's take our Rebels with them. Rockland Materna is just, I swear every week he has more rushing yards than the last. It's like he's an unstoppable force that just keeps picking up momentum as the season goes on. I think he's going to have a good day running the ball, and I think they're pretty balanced with Anthony Cusick throwing as well. So I think the Rebels are going to go on the road and get the win. Don't you dare. I know you're thinking about it. Not in the playoffs. Don't.
Bel Air looks so good, though. They have wins against Shady Side and 8-1.
That's a shady team. No.
My only gripe, though, with Bel Air's schedule, and it is a fair gripe, is that they've only faced this year 2 Division 5 teams, and everything else has been Division 6 or 7. So, two division, or excuse me, actually, I'm wrong on that one. They've faced multiple Division 4 teams. I got that. I was looking at that wrong. I thought that was the Division 5 that they were saying too. So a few teams, but I mean these scores. Give me Crestview in this one, and it's gonna be close. Next up, South Range.
Billy McCartney putting up some clovers.
Yeah. Alec and Larry, by the way, are going to have the call for Crestview at Bel Air. As now we move into the other school-covered one, as it is going to be Sandy Valley at Garrettsville Garfield. I'm going to waste no time. Give me the G-Men on this one.
G-Men, yeah. And we just posted our interview with Anthony Demo. You heard it here on Running Point a few days ago. That team plays as a unit. They play so unselfishly. They're just they're old school knockdown, drag out football team. You know what they're doing. You still can't stop it. And I think the G-Men get this one in pretty easy fashion.
As now we go into the games covered by our YSN announcers, 7 p.m. start time tonight for Rootstown at South Range. DJ Yoakley and Mike Ackelson going to have the call tomorrow night for you.
Is that a star-studded booth or what?
Yeah, that's going to be a great.
I think they may be like jockeying the microphone a little bit, like, you know. No, this is South Range all day. Like, they've looked unstoppable all year. I don't think Rootstown's going to be the team that comes and surprises people. So, give me South Range.
I think South Range is going to be just fine in this one, especially in Division 5. So, yeah, give me the Raiders in this one. As we go into now Division 6, as it is going to be number 1 seeded LeBray hosting Garfield Heights Trinity, as Quinn and Billy Mack going to have the call on
They're going
this
to need
one.
the Trinity real quick because that's their only hope. They're putting up prayers because LeBray's on a roll in this game.
Yeah, I think LeBray's on a collision course with a team from New Middletown in this one, and I think that's where you're going to see LeBray finally get some real good competition in this one once they start meeting those top 8 seeds. But I think LeBray, number 1 seed for a reason. Give me the Vikings in this one. Talking about that team from New Middletown, we'll travel down there real quick for Springfield as they're going to be hosting Western Reserve for another second meeting between the Blue Devils and the Springfield Tigers as they will lock horns again in the playoffs.
I want so bad for Western Reserve to be competitive in this game because they've had chances, and every time they've played Springfield, it's one of those games where their game plan is working. 3 out of the 4 components to trying to compete with Springfield are there. Wouldn't be able to finish drives. They couldn't finish drives. Can they finally finish drives? I don't know if they can. Springfield's going to win this game, but I hope it's close.
I think, you know what, especially with the elements, I think they're going to be able to finish drives, especially because Western Reserve is too proud of a program to not to. They're a historically great program in football. They're a historically great program in athletics, and Western Reserve is not one of those teams that just goes out without a fight. So whether the scoreboard looks one way or the other, know that Western Reserve is bringing their guys, their best 11 on offense and defense on that field every single time, and they're going to hit you a little bit harder tonight, and they're going to be running a little bit harder. They put in extra reps, I believe, for this one too, as this is a team that doesn't mess around, and they take these games very serious. But with that being said, like I've said before, and I'm not jumping off the wagon, still, since you went out and won, since Springfield went out and won those games after
Geneva. You're talking
Geneva,
about
Geneva. But I'm talking more before that, before when they beat Brookfield in that close one and then beat Geneva. I think since that point, Springfield have just been all on board with them. So yeah, give me the Tigers in this one as well.
The Tigers. It's the eye of the tiger. It's the thrill of the fight.
As we are going to say too, Jamie and Romo going to be double duty.
Look at that. They're doing both of them.
Double duty this week.
They are the happiest people in the world that it's set up where Springfield and Hubbard play on different days.
Yep, as Hubbard on Fridays and Springfield on Saturdays. As the next one, possibly the best matchup, I think, for Saturday night is Brookfield at United.
This one's going to be good.
Eric and Hughes going to have the call.
This is going to be a good game. They both have very similar styles where they're run first, but they can throw the ball if they have to. But I think Brookfield has a harder schedule. I'm going to go with the Warriors. I think they're more tested, and I'm gonna say they win tonight or tomorrow night.
That's a tough one, and this is one I've been kind of mulling, but there's been twice, I think, this season I've doubted United, and I've been wrong both times, and with good reason, because this is a stellar defense, and I think they opened everybody's eyes this last time, beating Southern the way they did. Give me United at home with this one. I think this is going to be a competitive, so competitive defensive game, especially in the trenches, but I feel like United, if they could stay balanced, they could come out on top of this one. Give me United in there. As now moving down, I believe now we are in Division 7 strictly, as it is going to be Monroeville at JFK. Dom's going to have the call. Do we need to say anything further? JFK wins.
JFK.
Yeah, JFK powerhouse in Division 7. They're going to, I think, steamroll their way to the next couple rounds probably, most likely.
F stands for Fitzgerald.
Yeah. As next Alec and Matt going to have the call. That's Valley Christian at Cuyahoga Heights. And this is going to be an interesting matchup, too, as Valley Christian matched up.
Yeah, we're going to talk to their defensive coordinator a little bit.
Yeah, I think Valley Christian, though, in this matchup, I even though they're going up against Cuyahoga Heights, I feel like this is still a matchup where Valley Christian, the only game that I've been kind of questioning about that really did look bad, and we got to mention it too, was against Southern. And when you look at that game, I feel like there's some things that if Valley Christian had that game back, they would have done better, because you saw they got competitive late in that game, and they were able to start scoring, and I feel like it was more or less just a collapse in that first half. And I feel like that was the only real game that was like a blip, other than facing the number one seeded LeBray.
I'll bring up another game. This they won it, but it was a struggle, and maybe it shouldn't have been. Wellsville. When they played Wellsville, it was like 19-0, but it was like 7-0 at halftime. And like, props to the Tigers, no disrespect, but like I went into that game thinking the Valley Christian was on a roll, and they were just laboring against Wellsville. So those are probably the two games on tape that the coaching staff probably watched and said, these are the things we have to fix. But you'd rather have those kind of games in the regular season, because then you can fix those things before playoffs.
And as far as what we're looking at for Cuyahoga Heights, it's fair to mention that only, I believe, looking at their schedule, a singular win over a team with a winning record this year, and that was against Berkshire in the first game of the season, 38-35 in double overtime. Lost to Independence, an 8-2 opponent. Lost to Cardinal, a 7-3 opponent. Lost to Lutheran West, an 8-1 opponent. Wins over opponents that are 4-6, 3-7, 1-8. So, I mean, you at 4-4 as well.
That tears it.
Yeah. I got Valley Christian in this one as well. I think the Eagles, both teams kind of going through their struggles before the end of the season, but I think Valley Christian is going to be able to rebound.
EAGLES, go Eagles fly.
As the last game on our coverage for Saturday night, Lowville at Malvern. Is CJ going to have the call for this one? This is going to be an interesting matchup. Another 8 versus 9 in this one in Division 7, as this time it's Lowville, the 9
Malvern's not ready for the smoke that Vinny Malone brings.
Yeah.
In this offense. Like, no. I'm sorry. Lowville all day.
A lot of wins against one win and no win opponents for Malvern this year. And looking at what Lowville has faced too, wins against some fairly good opponents too. I think beating Wellsville 33-6 was impressive, honestly. I think also beating both Mineral Ridge and McDonald down the stretch was impressive. The only loss that, I feel like they want back is that loss against Western Reserve. Other than that, this is probably an 8-1 football game.
It was the first win over McDonald for this program in 19 years. They are doing something special this year, and it's not going to stop this round.
And they're doing something special in Division 7, being that pass-heavy offense. On a lot of Division 7 teams we see like that, and I think
that could hurt them, because it's going to be raining.
It could hurt them, and that's going to be interesting to see how Vinny Malone does react to the rain, playing with a wet football. But I think it's going to be just fine for the Rockets. I think they're the unique wild card in Division 7. Give me Lowville.
But I brought this up yesterday. Rain can hurt the secondary almost as much, because you have no idea where the receiver's going. You have to be able to make a lot of quick
especially
breaks.
Backtracking initially,
and
too.
That can be really hard in a bad field condition.
Yeah,
So.
If you backtrack, and if you're especially on turf field.
I don't know if Malvern has turf or if they're playing on grass. not really sure, but either surface is hard when it's wet.
Yeah, no doubt. And I mean, especially like you said, if you're playing defense, if it's grass field, you risk the cleat getting stuck. If it's a turf field, you risk slipping because the plastics underneath it gets real slick. So either way, it can provide issues for them. As that does it for our football picks, as there is one, I believe, too, we don't have it covered, but it is Edison at Akron, Manchester.
Yeah, we can't forget about our friends over at Edison.
Yeah, so we're going to pick this one, too, and I'm going to make it simple. I think Edison's looked impressive all season. I think it's Wildcats in this one.
Like Louisville, they're putting something special.
Talking with Coach Colapi, too, when he came on, I think he's done a great thing with this program, and it's really starting to get on the right tracks, and I think this is a program that's going to be good for years to come. And credit to what the Wildcats and that whole program are doing over there. I think Edison takes this one and really continues to prove everybody wrong.
I think Edison looks electric and maybe switches on the light bulb.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
But I'll be here all week. Make sure to tip your waiters.
Yep. As we are finished with our playoff and regular season football matchups, as now we'll probably go into a break, but after we're going to transition right into a fourth spot of girls basketball coaches, and leading things off with Coach Gilbert of Garrettsville Lady G-Men on Garfield side.
The Lady G-Men.
Yeah.
Lady G-Men.
I believe that's how they. The
go.
preference is. We want to make sure that we're right on that one. But yeah, we have them, and then we got Coach Franklin, East Palestine at 115. Yeah. Coach Nieder at
130, and
130,
and the rest at 145. So, it's all coming at you like a freight train. Kind of like Anthony Dimma runs at the at defense.
From Lady G-Men to Lady Bulldogs to Lady Cats to Lady Eagles. We're all over. We're from the
Dogs,
skies to the ground.
Eagles,
yeah.
And then federal employees.
Yeah. We'll be excited to start it off too with the Lady G-Men's coach at Coach Gilbert starting off at 1.
We'll be right back on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Working with your family can be stressful at times, but because they're family, you know that you're going to get a loving, honest answer, even when things don't make sense to any problem. Dealing with Medicare can be confusing and overwhelming. That's why here at Myers Family Insurance, we do our best to give you honest and caring answers to all of your questions. Family, like Medicare, isn't always perfect, but when you put others first, the results can be amazing.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance.
It's storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Notice we'll have scattered showers on Thursday.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig with Ty Bartell, and as we approach the 1 o'clock hour, we are joined by the head coach of the Garrettsville Garfield Lady G-Men basketball team. It is Aaron Gilbert hopping on with us. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Yeah, thanks for the program. Thanks for the opportunity to talk about our team.
Coach, I want to talk about this team too. Very successful team that you were able to have last year, 18-5 record. Looking a little bit about what you lost to, there's no doubt that Grace Mills was one of the better athletes, I think, in the area, averaging over 16 points per last season. Talking about what you are losing in her, but what you're bringing back, what are some names you're excited to see on the team this year?
Yeah, losing Grace is going to be one of those big pieces to fill. I mean, you don't lose 1,600 points over the last 4 years and just slide somebody right into that spot. But we do have two players who have been playing varsity for 4 years who both averaged double figures last year, and Jenna Smith, who averaged 18 a game last year and 12 boards, who's signed to go to Marietta. And then Sarah Seaman, who averaged about 11 a game last year, 5 assists. Who will kind of run that 1-2 guard combo. Both have been playing varsity for 4 years. Return a couple other important pieces. Madeline Shirkey, who started the majority of the season. Caitlin Lutz, who also started a good chunk of the season. And then, it's just trying to figure out, how all these pieces are going to play really without Grace. Grace has been a saving a person you could just say, hey, we need points and just give the ball to her. Now, Jenna's going to have to step up. Sarah's going to have to step up. Madeline's going to have to step up. Kate's going to have to step up. And then, kind of an unsung player who got some time last year, who I think's off everybody's radar, which I probably shouldn't be saying this right now because of it, but is Sarah's sister, Sydney. Sydney's played a lot of varsity ball for us, not in the primary roles over the last couple of years, but I think she's going to be one that people are going to look through their scouting reports and be like, why wasn't she on our scouting report? I really feel that she's due for a breakout season.
One of the things that we talk about with Garfield in every sport, really, they're breaking into this new conference in the MVAC. Some teams you've played against in the past, some teams are a little bit less familiar with you guys. Talk about what it's going to be like to break into this new conference and try to compete with a lot of strong quality programs in there. This was a good conference last year, and now you guys are coming into it to make it even better.
Yeah, I mean, on the girls basketball side, it's a meat grinder. I mean, you've got very quality teams, champion year in, year out. Newton Falls year in, year out. You've got Brookfield, who's proven that they're, here to stay for a while. LeBray's got teams up and down, all teams that we've played here. We played Liberty last year, and it was a track meet at our place. I mean, it was, 70 something, 60 something last year with all basically freshmen and sophomores for them. I'm not real familiar with Campbell just because we haven't played them. So that's kind of one of the only teams in the league that I really don't really know about. But yeah, I mean, you've got 4 teams that can win the league. I mean, you really do. It's not going to be like it's one and everybody else. In the PTC, I kind of felt like it was usually a 2-horse race. It was us and Southeast every year. We knew one of us was going to be in the spotlight, and it was the red letter game. Now it's trying to get the girls to understand you're everybody's red letter game. Like, everybody wants to beat you, especially what you see what football came in and did, good success for the football, but bad for us because we made everybody mad. So, it's week in, week out, and our non-league's as tough as it gets. And it's going to be neat in some ways, and I think it's just going to be a struggle in other ways.
Coach, there is no doubt, too, that this has been a program that historically for years now has been one of the best that gets consistently over 15 wins a season. And it obviously starts with the culture that's built. What is the culture that you've been wanting to build there for Garrettsville Garfield, and what do you want it to mean to be a Lady G-Men?
This is year 15, kind of good for originally planned to stay about 5 years and move on. And it just kind of felt right. And this is entering year 15. And I actually, it was just before we were talking, I was looking at some numbers, the last 8 years, like you said, the last 8 years have been a real uptick, but the 2 years prior to that, we won 6 games, in two seasons. We won 1 and then 5. And then you get an influx of some players. There was a switch that was flipped. I don't even really know how to explain it. And then, boom, we went from 5 wins to 16. And then that senior class, who as freshmen won 1 game, were 1 game from state. Got beat by Chippewa in regional finals that year. So it's like these girls don't know the prior struggles. Now, one of my assistants, Taylor Smith, she was on my first team, which we won a handful of games. So she knows what the first couple years of the program were like, where we were just trying to instill, a culture. Now it's trying to maintain it. And as I told the girls the first day of practice, winning's not easy. Some teams make it look easy, but it's not, because as that powerhouse, in the area, the South Ranges and the champions and us, we're expected to do that every single year. And so every game, all 22 games, we have to be up for, because those other teams, they only got to get up when they play us, maybe. That's 1 or 2 games. We got to be up for 22, because everybody wants to beat us, because we become that program win for them. Whereas when I first came into the league, it was Mogador. Mogador was the team who was running the table, and then it was Southeast. And so it was like, once we could get over that hump, now you're on top. And it's not easy. I think you're seeing that with Clemson football this year. It's not easy to stay on top. And, you got to give the kudos to the Alabamas, the Ohio States, the Georgias, and it's not easy to win. So it's getting these girls to understand you got to work harder than whoever you're playing, because they want to beat you, because that will make their season if they can beat you.
A follow-up to that, being a team, like you said in the beginning of your tenure there, that had to get over some of these humps, do you think experiencing that is kind of an advantage for you, and now that you are kind of the hump that other teams have to get over?
I mean, I know that, and, my assistant knows that really well. The girls, I don't know if they fully grasp it, because it's we've gotten to the point where we expect to win most games, not being cocky, not being arrogant, but like, we go into games knowing we should win this game, whether it be whatever, against whoever. The first several years, we hoped to win the game. We just hope we're competitive against some of these teams. I mean, we were playing the first couple of years, we were playing teams that were going 19-1 and 20-0, and we're sitting there just trying to get our jump stops straight. And, I think my second year, we had a big swing from a culture standpoint, where we played East Canton at their place early in the season and got beat by 40. And it was just humbling to everybody. It was humbling to me coming over after having some success on the boys' side across the state. 6 weeks later, we played them again in our place and had the ball down 3 with a chance to tie it, and ended up losing by 4. And I think that was a game that showed them, okay, if we listen, if we do what the coaches are telling us, this ball can get rolling. And we went and won 17 games that year. And then luckily, Drew Ursuline in the tournament, who just, brought us back to reality. But, it's just one of those things that you don't realize how hard winning is until you don't do it. And then you're like, okay, wow, this is more work than we thought it was going to be.
I feel like the theme of this interview is turning into winning and how to build a winning culture. And it's starting to trickle down into other programs at Garfield, the volleyball team playing for district championship tomorrow. How much do you think your success kind of trickles into these other athletes? And,
I think at a school like ours, we all need to share the same kids. You look at who are the good players on those successful programs, and it's the same kids, same names in multiple programs. You look at Jenna and Madeline are doing really well in volleyball, and volleyball's doing really well playing for a district title tomorrow. They play really well for us, and we've been successful. You look on the boys' side with boys basketball and football. Dema plays basketball and football. There's no coincidence that they're successful with that name there. I mean, it's just some kids just know how to work. My first 2 years, 3 years, I used the phrase, you guys are starting to learn how to practice. And people looked at me like, what do you mean learning how to practice? There are certain ways that if you want to be successful, you are expected to practice. Like, you don't have bad days. I mean, you can't, because again, everybody's gunning for you. And as a coach, I've got to be prepared. That's one of the things that my dad taught me, is like, look, you can outwork the other coach. Like, you might not have as much talent as that guy or that girl, but you need to find a way to outwork that person. And that's just, good or bad for me. That's what I do. That's kind of, I just dive right into the season and just absorb so much stuff. But the cultural thing is just one of the things that we've built of, my dad did it in football where he instilled a belief in, we don't want to be the class that's known for not blank, winning the league, winning the district, going to playoffs, whatever it is. It's just, it kind of just became known, not spoken. It was never spoken, but it was just kind of understood that this senior class, we don't want to be known as the only class to never win the league, win the district, go to region, whatever it may be. So with this group, I think our 5 are really good. We've got to get some kids to step up to fill in some roles. The schedule is going to test us early and often. And we might not have as many wins as we've had in the past, but it's all building for March. So.
Yeah, no doubt, Coach. I think you got a great philosophy that you've been gunning with, and obviously the success has shown that it works in some regard. And looking at what you're doing this season, we got to meet the team. We're looked at the schedule. We know the culture now. Let's meet some of the staff, and I know you've been trying to mention them to some of your assistants that I'm sure help you along the way. Go ahead and shout out some of your assistants for this program, as well as some other names that might help you out along the way that you'd like to shout out.
Yeah, I mean, varsity assistant, Andy Cardinal. Andy was the head girls coach up at Middlefield Cardinal for a long time. It's probably one of the only people I've coached against that I've actually hired onto my staff. And he just impressed me because year in, year out, he got his kids to do what they could do. They might not have a lot of wins, but they were very good at what they did. And having another varsity coach, varsity head coach on the bench is huge. Comes to timeouts, game adjustments, things like that. Taylor Smith is another assistant I have. She played for me my first year and has been in the program with us. She coached a couple years in the junior high level. Now I think it's about the 6th year I think she's been with us with the varsity. Madison Hartung comes over from Streetsboro to coach our JVs this year, who was I coached against her, which makes me feel super old now because she was at Rootstown and was a 3-point threat. And she never lets me forget that, hey, I hit these shots against you guys. I'm like, thanks. I keep hearing that one. And then at the junior high level, kind of fortunate bringing a Garfield name back into our program. And that's Mark Rado. Mark Rado led the boys program when I first came here, took several years off to kind of just be dad for a while. And now he's coming back into the program. And, I think that's good for our junior high kids, again, to have a former varsity coach working with them. I don't think you can get any better experience than having that at that level.
Coach, before we let you go, last year was weird. Everything was weird about last year.
That's a good word, yes.
You couldn't really have full capacity crowds. You could only have parents or whatever. But now that you really get the community behind you into that gym, that awesome gray floor that I've been at, the gym, it's kind of one of those ones that you can tell can get loud pretty easily.
It does, yeah.
What's it going to be like for this team, and as successful as it is, to be able to feel the community support behind them?
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing on the girls' side that kind of gets, we want the crowds, but in order to get the crowds, you got to be good. People aren't going to pay to watch bad basketball. Parents will because they love their kids, but in general, to get that outside influence, to get that outside observer, that's going to be, you're going to have to play good quality basketball. And with us, we've got some natural rivalries on the schedule, some teams we've been playing for a while. So, we should be getting some people back. It'll be nice just to hear, regionals was so weird, especially this year. Cuyahoga Falls has got that upper tier, and that's the only place people were. So the noise kind of came on top of you. But there was nobody in the lower, and it just felt odd. Even our district game with Champion, that was a little bit more normal because we were, I would say, about half capacity. But it's just one of those things. It just energizes the players. Our players love it. Our kids love quieting a crowd on the road, and they love making the crowd cheer at home. So, I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping that, everything stays clean and clear and it's a nice smooth sail. But, we start off right the gates with West Branch, who's had our number over the last couple of years. So we'll find out what that crowd is like that on November 20th.
Don't worry, Coach. I think West Branch has had a lot of people's numbers over the year. I mean, they're going for going for 800 program wins this year. So I think.
Yeah, I just hope that it's not. I hope they're not sitting on 799 right now because Walt. I haven't beat Walt yet. So even my good teams, we struggle with him. So
they need 18. So you're good.
Okay, good. All right, that's good. I like that.
That should be a great opening matchup, though, too. As basketball fever, I think everyone's starting to get it, and that's a game we're definitely going to be looking forward to.
Yeah, November 20th is going to get here real quick. I have a bad feeling, or a good feeling.
I think you should feel pretty good about this season. Last season, that Cuyahoga Falls gym, it was packed with Ysn people. We had South Range there. You guys were there. Yeah. We hope to see that same kind of result in regionals this year.
We get to play South Range this year, so that'll be interesting. We go over to their place. They've got a holiday thing. We match up with them on the second night. So, Fish and I have been talking in the off season, so it'll be a good time.
The one thing I'll tell you better dress for success because Fish is going to be.
There is no. I can't. I'll no matter what I wear, he will one up me. So I could come in. I could come out as the mascot, and he will come out as He'll come out as Johnny Depp. I don't know, but he'll definitely one up me.
As we look forward to talking to you again real soon, Coach, as the season comes closer. I'm sure we're going to be seeing a lot of you and your team on the network.
All right. Well, we appreciate the coverage, and it's you guys, what you're doing for the high school area. I'm telling you, it's second to none. There's nobody does it better than you guys.
Well, we love doing it for you, Coach, and we look forward to talking to you again real soon.
All right. Thanks. Have a good one.
As that was Coach Aaron Gilbert of Garfield girls basketball. As we have a slate of coaches of girls basketball coming up in this hour for you, and
next one should be like.
Yeah, we traveled right into the MVAC, as newly into the MVAC as the Lady G-men, and this is going to be great. Seeing the schedule and what we saw too, opening up with West Branch, a lot of competitive games. As we now travel into EOAC territory.
Down the road.
Yep. I mean, EOAC territory with another team that had some very good success was the East Palestine Lady Bulldogs, as Coach Will Franklin joins us now. Coach, how are we doing today?
I think Coach froze.
Hold on. Let's see. A little bit of glitch gremlins going on real quick, Coach. Let's get you right. We're having one issue here in here real quick, Coach.
Oh, yep. You're moving. We can see you.
Let's see here. If we don't get him in, we could have him call in on our hotline too if he's having trouble with his audio. Yeah. Let's see if he gets back on too, as we're eager to talk with Coach Franklin too. This was a East Palestine Lady Bulldogs team, I believe, that won their conference, I believe, first time ever last year, correct?
And it was an exciting game down at United, and everyone went nuts, and it was a great atmosphere for East Palestine.
And it was fantastic for East Palestine to finally have that huge program win, to be able to hang that banner, EOAC champions. And this is what we talk about when building a program. These are when you lay those bricks of foundations and you build through, and it finally culminates to something as incredible as this. Congratulations to what the Lady Bulldogs were able to do last year. And now it's just exciting to see how they're going to be able to build on this program now and get even better as it goes forward.
Yeah, and one of the things that I think you hit the nail on the head, they're starting to learn how to win games. They're starting to have that winning culture, going into games expecting to win instead of trying not to lose.
Yeah, absolutely, and no doubt. And I think that's the biggest thing is these teams, when we see them, what East Palestine's been able to do. And last year, I think, was finally that culmination of this program and buying in. It's all working out for these
right
girls
now. We have the circle of death.
We're waiting too, as Glitch Gremlins like to play out here.
It's Halloween and the Gremlins came out.
Stream City, USA. Probably we've had aliens that blocked the streets of East Palestine before, so I'm not even surprised if we have the Gremlins out a couple days early.
All right, who broke the rules? There's only 3 rules with Gremlins. Come on, guys.
Yeah,
who fed something after midnight?
Someone's trying to run amok here with the football games tonight, is what it feels like. Releasing the Gremlins out right now.
Well, we'll keep waiting on Coach Franklin and hoping that he can find a way to come on our show. Man, still talking about East Palestine, though. they're a team. They lost a couple of important pieces, but they return a couple of important pieces too.
Yeah, no doubt. And honestly, what we're looking at with East Palestine, and the biggest thing with them, I think, is that their roster and what they looked like last year, honestly, is what's impressive is that what they're bringing back. They had a lot of younger girls on that roster, and I think that's the biggest thing too. You lose a little bit, sure, but I mean, I think what you're bringing back is going to be enough to be able to push them too. I think as long as I'm correct too, and I obviously don't want to say for sure, but I think Champney is one. Champney, I think, is one that was junior last year, but I think their biggest loss was Jocelyn Fristick.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be the one that I think everyone's going to talk about. Averaged, I think, well over 15 a game last season.
And she had more than one game-winning shot.
Yeah, and I mean that's going to be hard to replicate. But you think with the younger players that they have, and that's kind of what you want to talk with Coach Franklin about too, is those younger players, those underclassmen that he expects are going to get those significant playing minutes now that were freshmen, sophomores last year that maybe are juniors, maybe sophomores now that are going to get a little bit more playing time. Which ones he thinks are going to be able to take that next step and be big impact players for the team this year.
The big hope for East Palestine is that the younger girls now realize what the standard is and kind of echo that, and the winning culture kind of stays and it doesn't leave with the seniors.
Yeah, hopefully not, because I mean this is a team that looked very, very good last year, and I mean honestly, it was credit for them too to win the EOAC, and I think it brings some pride and for that program, and to be able to say you were the first to do it is something really special for East Palestine.
Yeah, and their volleyball team had a pretty successful season. They fell in the district semis to Crestview, but no shame there. Crestview's an undefeated team, but at the same time, their athletics programs on the girls' side starting to find success, and it's starting to trickle into other sports as well.
Yeah, no doubt, and I think that's the biggest key, honestly, going forward for them. Is that what we're seeing from what East Palestine's been able to do is just laying those bricks for the foundations of programs and building on it too, especially in the girls' sports there at East Palestine.
And you're sitting right in front of a wall that says brick by brick. That's how you build.
Yeah, no doubt, and I think that's going to be the biggest thing going forward, as we will hopefully still get an appearance or something from Coach Franklin, as Glitch Gremlins are running amok here, along with some rain here in Stream City, USA.
Gremlins plus rain just don't equal good things happening.
Yeah, no doubt. As we still will have expected to have Coach Nieder on at 1:30 from Struthers girls basketball, as well as Coach Agresta from Valley Christian girls basketball.
Coach Nieder, we're going to talk to him just like Coach Fishel. They lost, one of their big playmakers. But here's a positive for Struthers, because not a positive in the sense that you never want someone to get hurt, because obviously you want to see Emma Alaya on the court, but it forced some younger players to have to step up and get into that game when she went down with an injury. So, I don't know if they'll be as inexperienced as maybe he expected coming into last season, but they're still going to be a team that's trying to find new players.
Yeah, no doubt, and I think that's going to be the biggest thing going forward for Struthers, and that is that how they're going to be able to build after a moderately successful year last year, especially playing in that very tough NE8 conference. I think Struthers looked good at a lot of games too, and it's exactly right how they're going to be able to build on that.
I'm excited to talk to him about how this NE8 is going to look, because as I've said before, every team that was all the big players have seemingly graduated. It's like the stars aligned and they all were in the same class. Imagine if one team had all those seniors on one team.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, if one team had Jackie Grisdale, Izzy Lamparty, and Emma Alaya?
That'd be
state champs.
Yeah.
Period. I mean,
that'd be absolutely incredible too. I want to kind of just mention too that East Palestine, it's going to be, I think, an interesting year too with the EOAC, with a lot of the teams in the EOAC that are going to be competitive this year. And
I think United and East Palestine are still going to battle it out and be the top favorites. I mean, United's bringing back I don't think that they may have graduated one or two players, but almost everybody. I mean, they have Grace Knight coming back. They have Kidder coming back, Kibler coming back. A lot of really good players that shined bright last year for United, and Coach Sigler's going to have that team ready to go. And I think they're going to be the ones that kind of are tussling in the EOAC. They have a tough schedule. United has scheduled ridiculously hard teams. I know we're not talking about United right now, but you look at them. I think they play Poland. I know they play Ursuline. I mean, those are teams that EOAC teams don't usually go up and play.
Yeah, no doubt. And I mean, these are teams too where there's going to be good competition for United. And I mean, we're going to be talking with Coach Agresta too, Valley Christian, a part of that EOAC. It's going to be a tough road ahead for a lot of these teams too, and it's going to be some competitive basketball.
Talking about Valley Christian, that program has to be so proud. You know, Kristen Gill being able to walk on at University of Kentucky. We saw that news break a couple of weeks ago. She lit the world on fire last year for Valley Christian, several years for Valley Christian actually, and now she's gets to put on that SEC jersey that not a lot of people get to say that they get to put those on.
Yeah, no doubt. As we also gonna just take one quick look. I wanted to take at our Barrett Brothers Big Dog of the Valley before we probably take one more break before we get on to Coach Nieder that is supposed to be appearing at 1:30. As we see 234,584 is what I have registered for the volleyball numbers.
We have Coach Franklin trying to make another appearance. Hopefully this works. Coach, can you hear us now?
Yeah, I think I got it now.
Oh, there we go. Beautiful. As Coach Franklin able to make an appearance. Coach, we kind of tried to preview your team a little bit, but I don't want to do any more of the talking. Give us some names on some of these younger players that you think are going to be significantly a bigger impact on minutes-wise this year, and how you're going to replace some of these seniors this year, from last year, I should say.
Yeah, so I would say our first two that we're bringing back would be senior Patience Champney. You know, she was a big contributor for us last year. Now she's got to, kind of get in the roles of a senior leader. So that's going to be big for her and huge for her development. Maya Lee, a junior, she was a first-year basketball player for us last year, and she did a lot of amazing things for us. Those are two of our returning 5 starters. Some of our younger kids are going to have to contribute, immediately because we're going to be pretty young after those 2 upperclassmen. We have Lila Martin. She's going to be handling the ball for us a lot. Good defender. We have Mara Zimmerman. Another girl had a great offseason, sophomore. Gabby Andre, another shooter, good defender, good girl, passing the ball, sees the floor very well. We also have, I think, Cece Foster. She's going to be incoming freshman. She's going to get thrown in the mix real quick. I also return a couple other upperclassmen, and Jasmine Lute, she's a post, is going to help us out in there, high motor type kid. Hannah Cunningham, another cross-country kid, so we're still waiting on seeing some of those girls. She's been in the program for 3 years, and, we got a couple other young kids that are going to have to step up early for us.
Coach, when you look at what this team was able to do last year and some of the things that they were able to do for the first time in program history, and me and Ty talked about it, build this kind of winning culture in the program and to get to the point where the team expects to win when they come on the floor instead of playing to try not to lose. I know you lost a lot of seniors, but you still return players that experienced that. How much do you expect last year's impact to kind of go into the culture of this team?
Yeah, we've been successful the last 3 or 4 years, compared to when we first started the program. And the kids are putting in that extra time in the weight room in the summer, going to camps, doing things on their own. So, as a coach, you're glad to see that kind of culture is moving forward in your program. So, the biggest thing we got to realize real fast is, last year's over. Those kids graduated, and they left behind like their legacy, their work ethic, what they want the program to be like. I still talk to those kids that graduated. They ask me, hey, how's it going? How's practice? How the girls doing? Because they're invested still, even though they've graduated, they moved on, they're college and other things like that. They're still invested. They want to see the program do well. So yeah, like you said, you kind of hinted on it. Now it's you expect to win. You have that mentality where it's not just play the game. It's we want to win the game. We want to compete in every game. We want to try to win every one that we can, and that's the attitude that I think our team has right now. We still have that winning mindset.
Coach, looking at this EOAC, and we want to give props to you and that program for being able to win that first EOAC championship for the girls, and I think that's huge in building that program and building the history of that program. Talk to me first off a little bit, 2-part question, what that program win meant for you, what it was like to hang that first banner up for those girls, and number 2, what are you looking ahead at this EOAC, looking at some of the battles? What are some teams you're expecting to? I know United's going to be one that we're going to be circled, but kind of preview the rest of the EOAC for us this year as well.
Yeah. First off, getting that league title last year, finally, I walk in this gym every day. So I looked at that blank wall with no league titles for, this is my 10th year here at East Palace and my 9th year coaching a varsity girls. So, for 9 years, I had to look at a blank wall. I had to, people ask me, why is that wall blank? And, because we haven't won a league title ever. So, to finally be able to, put one up there, those girls, kudos to them. They worked hard. And, that was one of their goals when they were freshmen. So, those kids, they grinded it out. Last year was a crazy, hectic year. Most of our games got canceled. And we were fighting and clawing just because we wanted a chance, because we felt like we could do some good things. We just needed a chance. We needed a chance. We got quarantined a handful of times. We cut our schedule down. So for those kids to be able to do that was pretty good. And just moving on to the EOAC, like you said, it's going to be competitive. United right now is the clear favorites. If you talk to any other coach in the league, I'm pretty sure they're probably going to say United. They return a lot. They have a lot. You had a lot of girls last year, and we've experienced with them. I played literally, I think, 5 girls. They knew we didn't have depth, and they could run 10, 12 girls on the floor at you and just hound you. So they're going to be in a good position. So at the same time, pressure's on them, and the rest of us in the league. We can go in there and we can give those guys some headaches and try to get an upset with those guys. But rest of the league, just based on people returning. Columbiana, they're always good. They're always solid out there, solid program. Coach does a good job out there getting those girls ready. So they're always solid. I expect them to be in the mix. Lisbon, they were young last year. I think they return a lot. So I expect them to be pretty good. Southern Local, they had that freshman. I think Ashley Schroes, she's back as a sophomore now. She found ways to score a lot last year. So if a kid can score, she's dangerous. Wellsville, I don't know anything because we didn't get to play them last year. And Latonia, to me, they're always solid too. They're always hanging around in the mix. They're always fundamentally sound, and they find ways to win a lot of games over there. So I think it's going to be tight. I think we're all kind of chasing United a little bit, but other than that, I think the rest of the league, it's going to be pretty dicey.
Coach, before we let you go, I wanted to give you a chance to shout out your coaching staff, the people that are assisting you this year, and the people that really the program wouldn't be where it is without them.
Yeah, I mean, we have a ton of help. First, I'll start with my coaches. My assistant coach, Jill Baird, she's been with me. I think this is like her 5th or 6th year. She does a great job with our JV kids, getting them ready to move up to that varsity level. Also this year, we're going to have one of my former players, Carson Rutledge. She's going to come on as a volunteer. I'm excited to get her into the program, getting a former player and, knows the expectations. Over the junior high side, Coach McKinstry, he's been having that junior high program forever. So glad to have him back once again with our 8th graders. And this year we brought a new coach for our junior high for our 7th grade program, Morgan Zoper from South Range. So excited to have her here in our program, getting someone from South Range over here to help us out. So really excited to see what she can bring to the table. Some other people you say, help you out. It's more than just your coaches to give you a good program. Last year, Mrs. Sherry, she helped us out a ton. She was doing our books, kind of running around getting, we didn't have many crowds last year. She did what she could to, making signs for all the parents and things like that and getting them involved. So that helped us out, helping selling tickets, so she was kind of the person behind the scenes, helping us out, making sure the girls had snacks and stuff for after games. Everyone else that kind of contributes to the program. You're not successful by yourself. It's who you surround yourself with.
Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. We love talking to you. We love catching up with you, getting the preview of East Palestine girls basketball. We wish you the best of luck, and we know that we'll talk to you again real soon.
All right, man. Thanks. Appreciate everything you guys do for us. Thanks.
And we go right from Coach Franklin to Coach Will Nieder, the head coach over in the Struthers girls program. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Oh, no, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Coach Nieder, I want to just say, too, for your program last year, being in that very tough NE8, you were able to bob and weave your way to a winning record. And I think that was very respectable for a team that was rather young. Obviously, the biggest loss that we're going to talk about when we talk about the Lady Wildcats is the loss of Emma Alaya. But looking at what you're bringing back and some younger talent and some players that you think are also going to step up this season, shout out some of those players on the team and some of those players we're going to have to watch out for.
Yeah, one of the things coming from last year, we were young. We had, 8 players letter that will be returning. A couple of those that are going to be kind of key players that have experience. We have 2 starters. We have Ella Croyle. She kind of plays the 4 or 5. She was an all-conference player for us. And she's definitely key and a leader on the team. The other one would be our junior point guard, Chloe Nieder. Last year when Emma Alaya went down hurt, Chloe really came through for us and led the team in scoring, assist. And is a good leader on and off the court. So those are a couple of the players there that are key that are returning. But we were also last year, Miley Gond is our other senior. And she's a good player, plays hard, and she's getting better. She's going to be a big help this year. And, I got Faith Stellato. Faith came off the bench a lot. I think he started some games for us last year. Later on, good shooter, another good guard that's a junior. We got Adriana Rudzik. She's another letter winner that good rebounder, good defender, plays hard all the time. Carly Rhodes. Just keep getting better, and another junior that we have. And then the other one that's kind of coming back at the letter winner, Emma McConaughey, good shooter. She ran point guard for the JV. She can handle the ball, plays good defense. And then she's another junior that we have. And then we got one sophomore that's returning letter winner, which is Emma Morris. She can play any of the guard positions. And, we're excited as we see her develop.
As we talk about your players, now let's talk about your schedule. Everyone knows the NE8 and how tough it is, but I think the stars kind of aligned because all the big names in the NE8 kind of were seniors at the same time. It's going to look a lot different. They're going to be a lot of new faces, and these teams are going to look different. What do you kind of expect from this league this year?
Like you said, there are definitely some new faces and everything, and some players that that aren't there anymore, but. I thought overall the league just keeps getting more competitive. I know, we had co-champs last year with Poland and South Range. I believe both of them are going to be right there in the mix. They're both good programs. They're coached very well, and they got a lot of good players returning as well. I felt the other teams in the league, continue to improve and get better. I thought Hubbard was really playing good. Gerard was coming along. Jefferson's tough. So I think the league as a whole keeps getting better, and and Niles too. All these teams just kind of keep getting better. So I think it's going to be another competitive year. A lot of good teams, and it'll be a lot of good basketball.
We know how well the Struthers community supports its athletics, and we know last year in the wild and crazy year that it was, that prevented a lot of communities from showing up in full support for their teams, especially playing in that historic Struthers Fieldhouse. What is it going to mean for the girls this year to kind of have that capacity opened up a little bit in the gyms and having more people there to cheer them on?
It's just getting back to, a sense of normalcy, and, I think we play in the nicest facility in the area, as far as coming into, the field house. And, I know even when teams come in, teams that haven't been there before, the reaction that we typically get, people walk in and see it. So I know for us personally, just to get the fans back and people come in, we get a lot of great support for Struthers girls basketball. And it's going to be nice having it open back up and getting people back in to watch us.
Coach, at the end of every season, I think every coach kind of watches the film and reflects totally on their team and what they can do in the next season. Now that you have practice started and we're starting to gear up for this next season, what are some of the goals of these next couple of weeks gearing up for the start of the year, and what you really want to hammer into your team and get them ready for when the season starts in a couple of weeks?
Defense. We definitely put a lot of time in. We take a lot of pride in our defense and playing hard and getting after teams. You'll see that we're, compared to the last few years, we're not as big. We're a smaller team, but with that, we're a more athletic team, and we're really working hard on playing defense and being able to get after teams. And the other part of that is, with having a little bit, we're still a little bit younger coming back and experience. We did graduate 5 seniors last year. Is that chemistry and kind of a little bit of continuity and kind of getting going with each other and just that court experience. So we're definitely looking forward. Our first scrimmage is on Saturday, is to get out there and start competing and then keep working every day to get better.
Coach, talking about it too, and talking about referencing Emma Alaya again, what she did so well. She wasn't just a great scorer; she was a great ball handler as well, and no doubt a lot of the time the ball went through her in passing situations as well. Talking about this offense though, going into this year, do you think there's benefits in having an offense that you're creating where there's multiple weapons that do a lot of things very well, as opposed to just what Emma Alaya was able to bring to the table? No doubt was really great, but instead of having that one player that teams were kind of game planning for last year.
Yeah, we our team's definitely a little bit going to look different. It was definitely unfortunate for us and Emma last year with her going down, but that was in game 5, so we really learned a lot of things last year that's helping this year. Like I said, Chloe really stepped up well, handled the ball, and then one of the goals last year was we wanted to get Emma off the ball to be able to do more things with her and kind of utilize Chloe to help facilitate that. This year, we're really bringing some more players that are going to be back that are a little bit more skilled as a whole. We're going to have some better athletes on the floor and more girls that can get to the basket and knock down shots.
Coach, we've met your players. Now let's meet your staff and the people that support you, the people that assist you from junior high on up to your varsity assistants.
Yeah, I'll go through my staff a little bit. My varsity assistant is Wendell Wagnon. Wendell has coached, I think he's like 30 years. This is his 3rd year with us. He was with Matisse for a while. He helped Coach Fish out at South Range for a little bit. And, he's a Struthers person, lives in Struthers. And when I had the opportunity to bring him on, he brings a vast knowledge of basketball and it's a big help. We do have a couple different people this year as far as my, varsity assist or JV coach, Natalie Lynn. She played 5 years ago. She graduated from Fitch, played there, coached the last 4 years at Fitch. She just graduated YSU and as a teacher in our school. And I'm real excited to have her. And I'm not a teacher, so it's nice having a teacher on staff. And, she's, even though she's younger, she has good experience and has been very helpful. My freshman coach is Hallie Minchin-Skook. I've been in the girls program for a while, and I actually coached Hallie in 7th and 8th grade in middle school. She's took a couple of years off, but she's back helping out, and she's a big help. And then I go down to my middle school. I got Al Masai. Al Mace has been coaching with us for a long time. He bounces around. He's jumped up and helped up at the varsity level, down low, and huge help to everything that we do. And then I got Scott Stoddard, who's another teacher who is in his 1st year. And kind of going with some other ones that, I'd like to point out. Gabe Masai, Al's dad, he's a long time coach, retired, who's still always helping us out whenever we need. Coach Grandy, who I took over for, is always helping. And then just my boosters and the community. We get a lot of support for Struthers girls basketball, which is very much appreciated.
Yeah, no doubt. Exciting too, with all the influx of hiring too, with new assistants, and it can be very exciting for a program. And my final question for you, Coach, before we let you go, just kind of a shout out to not only the Struthers community but surrounding communities. What's going to be the most exciting thing to watch about this Struthers Lady Wildcats team this year?
You know, we're already seeing it, and what you're going to see is you're going to see some fast basketball. We're gonna play fast. We're gonna play, you know, like I said, we're gonna get after teams, and it's good. It's gonna be exciting to watch. I'm really pleased with the skill level and the basketball IQ that we're seeing, and it's really gonna be fun basketball to watch.
There's no doubt we're going to be looking forward to covering all of it, Coach, as we're going to be covering all kinds of NE8 matchups, I'm sure, this year for both boys and girls basketball. And I'm sure we're going to be talking to you in the thick of it again real soon.
Thank you.
As Coach Nieder of the Struthers Lady Wildcats joining us today, as we are excited to kind of dip into the NE8 action a little bit more. We've already talked with Coach Fish over at the Lady Raiders of South Range. That was nice too. But now we jump from EOAC to NE8 back to the EOAC, as we are now joined by Valley Christian's Lady Eagles coach and Aaron Agresta. Double duty though, Coach, as you're probably looking forward to tomorrow night as well. But
absolutely,
Lady Eagles also in sight, not too far ahead.
Yep, absolutely. Good to be here. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, no problem. And Coach, my first question for you, looking at this team, it was very competitive, a team that was competitive in the EOAC, a team that actually beat the EOAC champs East Palestine last year. Looking at what the Lady Eagles are going to be bringing back, and we already know the talent level that you guys had there last year, what are you excited about bringing back? Young players that maybe we don't know the names of, as well as players we may know the names of. But
yeah, absolutely. You know, just to talk about your comment there about East Palestine being the champs. There was actually some contention with that last year. They named two champs. They named a regular season champ and then an end of season champ. So we were actually given a trophy by the league, and we were tied for the league championship with East Palestine. So, it was a weird thing with COVID, and, we didn't get to play everybody twice. We actually beat East Palestine the first time we played them. And then with COVID getting canceled and everything, we lost some of those games. But so we were proud of them, for their, coming off of a season where we came out of the Portage Trail conference. That's a tough conference with Garfield in there and teams like Mogador and Crestwood and other big schools in there. It wasn't right for us, with the size of our school. So the EOAC is more competitive for us with the size of the school we have. And we have a lot of returning players. We did lose some of our main starters, Kristen Gill, one of our senior leading scorer last year. She actually made the basketball team at the University of Kentucky. She made it as a walk-on down there, so she's playing college basketball. We lost seniors like Desiree Dean, Olivia Kitchen, Michaela Tinsley. So, big players out of our starting lineup, but we also have a lot of players that contributed to that team last year back. So we have players like Nadia Beck, Kyle Turner. We have DeAndra Tinsley. She's actually a junior starter returning. We have Julie Peterson, another senior returning starter. So, we have a lot of talent coming back, and we're excited to keep competing in that conference.
Coach, before we continue this, I just want to take a side step because you brought up Kristen Gill, and man, being able to walk on at the University of Kentucky and put a jersey on that has that SEC emblem on it, something that not a lot of players get to be able to do. How proud are you as a coach and Valley Christian as a kind of community to be able to say that we kind of helped breed her and she's from Valley Christian and that's kind of our girl that's out there putting on the white and blue?
Absolutely. Anytime, and that's not anything, that's not patting my back at all. I was just proud to coach her. Any player like that, when I was in Louisiana coaching, I had a girl go Division I as well. She's at the University of Louisiana Monroe right now, Division I. So, anytime you get a player that goes to play any level of college basketball, that is a tremendous accomplishment for them. Because even you even go down to Division II and Division III, those players are very, very good. I don't think a lot of people realize that until you're up close and personal. I played at Geneva college over in Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania. And, those teams are always overlooked. Those players are always overlooked. Any college player, I think it's like something like 2%, 3% of all high school players even go play anywhere in college out of high school. So, we're proud of her. And obviously it's amazing for our school, something we can promote for our school, for our basketball program. So, we're absolutely proud of that. And we're going to keep talking about it as well.
I just want to mention too, they're kind of like Beaver local with that. I love that backdrop that they got too at the Valley.
Yeah, you know what? It's kind of crazy. I'm actually in class right now because I teach calculus here after lunch, and they're actually over here doing an assignment, and I have a backdrop up just so it would look like I'm more,
That's awesome. That's awesome. We love it. Looks official.
Well, I'm doing what I can here.
As we kind of met the team a little bit too, I also wanted to just take a real quick second while we're already meeting everyone. Let's meet the rest of the staff that you're going to bring with this team this year. That's going to kind of help these girls take that next stages in their development and reach further for their ceiling.
Absolutely. I have 2 assistants with me this year. They've been with me for the last 2 years since I've been at Valley. Steve Satchery, you guys might know him. He's the assistant AD over at Jackson Milton. And he's a gym teacher over there as well. He's been teaching and coaching, for over 30 years. He's been at Jackson Milton for almost 40 years. I think this is his 40th year at Jackson Milton. He's an amazing guy, amazing person, and he knows the game of basketball very, very well. So, I told him he's not allowed to ever retire. He's going to be with me as long as he's with us. So he does a great job for us. And then Monica Perkins. She's my on campus assistant coach. She coaches our JV team. She does a great job with the girls. I think it's important to have, when you can, a female coach on the team when you're coaching young ladies. So she leads that, that aspect of the team for us. And then obviously head coaches our JV team. So those are 2 important pieces to the puzzle.
Coach, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about the football team before we ended this this interview. I know you're excited for basketball season, but you got some stuff on your mind heading into the playoffs. Help us to preview this playoff matchup and what your defense is looking for and how exciting it is for Valley Christian to be having such success this year.
Absolutely. Valley's had some good teams in the past, but in the last probably 5 or 6 years, I think the best team that we've had in the last 9 years is a 5-5 team. And only I think one of those teams made the playoffs. So just to get back to a 7-2 record, and have a winning season under our belt, that's an automatic huge accomplishment for us. I think it's just the first of many great things to come. Obviously making the playoffs and then going into this playoff game, we're playing the team Cuyahoga Heights out of Cleveland. And, obviously we have film on them and, they have a coach over there that's been doing it for a long time. And we respect the heck out of them. They run kind of a triple option style offense with some mix of going spread and trying to throw it around a little bit. So, we've got our hands full, but we think we have a good plan in place. And, we've just preached to our guys all week that we're going to just play. They've been playing hard all year, so that's really not, a question. But going into this game, it being, with it being a playoff game, I think you have to have a little bit more focus. I think you have to play a little harder. It's a little bit more serious when, win or go home is on the line. So, we're prepared and we're excited to get up there and play tomorrow.
Coach, you teach calculus, so give us a perfect equation for a Valley Christian playoff run.
I think that, if you control the clock, run you're able to get first downs and kind of, march down the field and control the clock. You don't want to turn the ball over, obviously. These are all cliche things, but in the playoffs, if you control the time on the clock, and you can score a couple times and you can just make them go the length of the field on defense, you don't want to let anyone score quick, because, then your offense isn't rested, you know what I mean? And you keep going on and off the field. There's all these sudden changes. So I think if you control the clock and we don't back down to adversity, something bad's going to happen in a game. We're always telling the kids something bad is going to happen along the way. It's what are you going to do? Are you going to pout about it? Are you going to be a baby about it? Or are you going to come out of it and play harder the next play? So I think if we're able to run the football and control the clock and make them go the length of the field on defense, I think we have a good chance in the fourth quarter.
You guys obviously won against your last two opponents by a final score of 56-0 combined. So that's obviously credit to you. Switching back over to the basketball team, but looking at that defense, obviously heavy and heavily involved in the last 2 weeks for football. Do we expect that to kind of cross over in the same kind of coaching philosophy and mentality? Is this going to be a defensively strong Valley Christian Lady Eagles unit to expect?
I think we are. I mean, we do a number of things. If it were my choice, I'd say let's play man-to-man all the time. You know what I mean? So we do play man-to-man at times, but I do like zone at times too. So we're a mix on defense. I think it is good to change in high school, especially when you're constantly changing defenses. I think teams have a hard time with dealing with that because they constantly got to get in and out of different offenses versus your defenses. But I'm a fundamental believer. So we're constantly preaching offensively and defensively, controlling the ball. Don't turn the ball over. Become a triple threat every time you touch the ball on offense. Always staying in front of your girl on defense, boxing. So we're always preaching fundamentals. So it doesn't really change football to basketball. I'm not necessarily an over defensively minded basketball coach just because I'm a defensive coordinator. But as a head coach in basketball, we're focused on the fundamentals all the time. But we do start with defense. These last couple of days we've been practicing. We do a lot of defensive drills at the beginning of the year. Because we want to make that an important piece and a priority.
Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. I'm sure it's a busy day for you, getting ready for game day tomorrow, and of course, teaching calculus. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We wish you the best of luck tomorrow night for the football team, and we wish your girls the best of luck this year. We know we'll talk to you again real soon.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, Coach.
That was Aaron Agresta, the head coach of the Valley Christian Eagles girls basketball team and the defensive coordinator of their football team. And if we had more time, I would have loved to ask him about the dynamic of practicing with the girls and getting them ready for the first week of practice, but also trying to put energy into the guys as well. And for a deep playoff run, that's going to go deep into the preparation of a basketball season.
Yeah, and we're going to have to see how they're going to be able to adjust. It's going to be interesting times over there in Valley Christian, but we love to thank all of our coaches, obviously, for joining us too. And one thing I want to remind you of before we get out of here, Big Dogs of the Year voting, over 431,000 votes total right now. I want a big influx of votes the next couple of nights for football. You can vote until Sunday at midnight. We already said the goal was over 500,000. I think you guys can keep reaching for the stars. Get as close to that 1 million mark as possible for these kids, because that would be one crazy accomplishment for these kids to say that over 1 million people voted and they came out on top. Over 1 million votes, and there's like 2 on top for Big Dog of the Year, high school volleyball and football. Get out there and vote. ysnlive.com/bigdogs.
So one more reminder tonight: playoff football starts tonight. $9.99 pay-per-view package gets you access to not just whatever game you want to watch, but the games all on the network tonight. And then once again, do the same thing tomorrow. $9.99 gets you access for the whole slate for that particular night. There are instructions on how to purchase on the page. So make sure you follow those very well. And if you do that, you'll be good to go. Enjoy your football. Enjoy your playoffs. Casual Sports Podcast coming up next from 2 to 3. Power Hour from 3 to 4. And then football, guys, you covered for the rest of the night. We'll be back on Monday with Running Point from 12 to 3. Until then, have a great weekend and happy Halloween.